There are moments in our lives when everything changes, when the world shifts underneath you and a new reality forms. These are moments when you remember exactly where you were, what you were doing, and who you were with. June 24th, 2022 was one of those days. 3 years ago, I marched with my House colleagues to the Supreme Court. I stood in solidarity with Democrats and Republicans alike. We felt shock, disbelief, anger, and sadness at the loss of one of our fundamental rights. On that day, Roe versus Wade was overturned, and for many, their lives were turned upside down. Since then, extreme Republicans and President Trump have said that abortion is a states' rights issue. States' rights. Yet, over the last 3 years, we've watched quietly and purposefully, they have chipped away at our right, chipped away at our bodily autonomy, because the goal has always been a national abortion ban. 3 Trump-appointed Supreme Court justices and the Dobbs decision later, and we are still watching this unfold. Anti-abortion extremists have been piecing together a puzzle that, when it's completed, will create a national abortion ban. And they add a new piece each and every day. Over the next hour, my colleagues and I will lay out what the Republican national abortion ban looks like, what it means for everyday Americans, and what we can do about it. Because these efforts will hurt all of us, especially young women, women of low income, women in rural areas, and women of color. For me, this is personal. I could have lost my daughter-in-law because she did not get the care she needed. And I remember getting a call on Christmas morning. I was in the kitchen, I was cooking, and I heard my daughter-in-law on the other end of the phone say, "Mom, my water just broke. It's too soon." She went to the hospital, but again, the hospital we went to could not provide the care that she needed for the miscarriage that she was having, and they sent her home. And I remember thinking about all the committee hearings that I had on the health subcommittee in the health committee in the House, and how the data was clear that we in this country have a maternal mortality crisis, that Black women die 3 times the rate of our white counterparts. And all I could think was, we got to get you somewhere. And we did. Fortunately, Ebony is here alive today. Fortunately, Ebony was able to have my beautiful granddaughter because of IVF, I might add. But stories like these are all too common. It disproportionately affects Black and brown women. We face reproductive challenges. We have a higher mortality rate. We have higher rates of reproductive cancers. We have higher rates of preterm births. Like I said, this is personal. We're here today to show the American people that we did not forget about the Dobbs decision, especially because the majority of Americans, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, believe that we should have legal and safe abortions. We're here today to tell the Republican Party you can't have it both ways. You can't claim to be the party of personal freedom while telling us what to do with our bodies. President Trump, you can't claim to be the fertilization president while making it more dangerous for women to give birth. You can't claim to be the party of strong economic growth while cutting Medicaid, food assistance, and child care for many women who needed to participate in the workforce, and all to give tax breaks to people who already have all of these resources. We're here today to show extreme Republicans across the nation that we see what you're doing. quietly assembling the pieces of the puzzle. And when it is completed, it will strip Americans of their access to abortion care in red states and blue states. We're here to show just how important it is that we fight this reconciliation bill. Whether you call it a big bad bill, whether you call it a big ugly bill, whatever you call it, this is the moment for people to speak up, because it is just another piece of the puzzle. And we're here to shine a light on the ultimate goal of a national abortion ban. I stand here and I think about the young women that I saw as I came to this floor. I think about my niece. I think about my daughter. And I think about my granddaughter. And the fact that they now have less rights than I did, than my mother did, and than my grandmother did. And that today it is important for us to not forget and to make sure that we recognize what this is all about and that we want the best for our young people in this country. Mr. President, as I close out this time, I had prepared remarks for my closing, but a word keeps ringing over and over in my head, and that is freedom. And as I stand here, why today is so important is because it is, again, another chipping at our freedoms. I stand here as a Black woman who has, in our history, knowledge of what it means for your bodily autonomy to be taken. I stand here today looking at a picture of my granddaughter, who I want to have the same rights that I had growing up. Today, we mark a 3-year anniversary, but we also have an opportunity to commit to what our future will look like. This very week, we potentially will see a bill on this floor that will again chip away at health care, when we know that 40% of the births in this country are through Medicaid. Chip away at our rights. And so I thank my colleagues for their powerful words today. I thank all of the advocates who came and spoke to us today, all of the individuals who are still fighting the good fight to make sure that we have the rights that we deserve. I will end with a story of an individual who I just met today. Her name is Nancy Davis, and she was a patient in Louisiana. She said, when I was 10 weeks pregnant, doctors informed me that my baby had acrania, a rare condition that was fatal for my baby and dangerous for me. Naturally, I was heartbroken and scared, but I trusted that I would receive the necessary medical treatment so that my family and I could begin healing. Unfortunately, I was wrong. Just a few weeks before I received my diagnosis, the Supreme Court issued the decision in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, overturning Roe versus Wade and eliminating the legal right to an abortion. The fallout from that decision was fast, with states across the country starting to enforce cruel and dangerous abortion bans. My home state of Louisiana has some of the strictest abortion laws in the country, and even though I needed to terminate my pregnancy to protect my own health and safety, I was told I could not receive care at the hospital in Baton Rouge. Instead of being able to process the diagnosis and grieve the loss of the pregnancy at home with my family, I had to scramble to find a way out of Louisiana to access abortion care. I found myself in a situation I never thought I would be in, forced to travel 1,500 miles to get the care that I needed and deserved. I experienced not only a denial of necessary medical care, but a denial of compassion and my right to make my own decisions about my own health. I felt dehumanized and stripped of my most fundamental rights. I knew what I needed to do to protect my health, and my doctors agreed, but local lawmakers who will never know me or understand my situation had the final say. The system failed me, and I am just as outraged today as I was then. Today, let's turn that outrage into action. Spread the word about what is coming to this floor. Make sure that people stand up, use their voices, use this moment. Freedom. That's what this is about, freedom. I yield back.